Dear Journal, today has my head spinning with emotional turmoil. I can physically feel my anxiety pushing through my skin. My relationship with Ree has really taken some heavy blows due to my recent decisions. In the beginning, our connection was so phenomenal that I realized I never really knew love before Ree. We have been together for 5 years now, and 2 years ago she brought up the topic of marriage. At that moment, it really threw me for a loop, not that I was surprised, but because I was trying to find a way to bring it up myself. I knew how Ree felt about marriage, and it was something that was very important to her. It was something that I clearly wanted as well. I was just unsure what that would look like given my current situation. I wasn't content with my position in life. I wanted to bring in more money, fix my credit so that I could put a decent down payment on our dream home right outside the city, the one I knew Ree wanted more than anything. How could I lead a family and be the man she deserved without first being able to be the man I knew I could be? I knew I could be better, but it would take more sacrifice on my part. I worked for a Fortune 500 company that actually offered several opportunities to grow within the organization. I never took advantage of any of the opportunities that were offered to me. Besides, my entry-level position was comfortable and took little effort on my part. It paid enough to take care of myself, but not enough to take care of a wife and the family I wanted to have with Ree. I also wanted to grow my relationship with God. I had to spend more time with the Lord. I had to be able to carve out more time to talk with my Father and also listen to His direction. I had an idea of what I wanted my life to look like, but I knew His ways were higher than mine. So I had to allow Him to lead me. How could I be the husband she needed to lead without first following God? Needless to say, I saw a lot of changes that I could make in myself to help better our relationship and be ready to marry the woman I loved so deeply. In order to get my credit straight, pay off some debt and move up in the company and show my boss my commitment to the organization, I had to work several 12-hour shifts. That meant canceled date nights or a reschedule here and there. My off days that I usually spend with Ree was spent on some much-needed rest. I could tell what I was doing, and the decisions I was making was taking away time from us, but how could I explain that? I was trying to set up a future for us, without spoiling the element of surprise. Today was crazy weird between us. It was the first time in 2 weeks that I had seen her beautiful face, full lips, and her melanin skin that glistened in the sunlight. I was in awe of her beauty, as always, and it renewed my mindset that I was doing the right thing. I picked up on her frustration. I know that our last date night had been a total fail. I was embarrassed. Let me explain why. The day started off normal. I woke up at 7 a.m., read my Bible, and prayed. I just spent a little time with the Lord asking for guidance and direction before the start of my day. My alarm went off at 8:10 a.m. to allow me time to get ready to send my beautiful Queen Ree a good morning text. I sent it at exactly 8:15 a.m. The time signifies her date of birth, August 15th. I've been doing that since the beginning of our relationship. I wanted to do something special for her because she was so special to me. Lately, I was working so many 12-hour shifts that my days seemed to roll into one, so I started setting an alarm so I would never miss the moment to text her and let her know she was on my mind. At that moment, I thought about the reason I was doing all this. I was going into work earlier these days and staying a lot later, trying to show my boss that I was ready for more responsibility and the leadership role of general manager. He's offered me that position several times before, in the past few years, but I never thought I was ready for all the commitment that came along with it. I did, however, speak with my boss to let him know that I wasn't able to stay late that night. I could feel the tension between Ree and I knew we needed some quality time together. I had to make it to our date night. Unfortunately, I was so tired I could feel the weight of my decisions to do better and become a better man, not only for her but for me. My days had become so blurred at times that I didn't even realize it was Valentine's Day until 15 minutes before I was due to pick her up. I stopped to fill up my tank at the gas station and overheard a few people talking about their plans for that night. I was stuck. I had made so many promises of making things up to her that night. I wanted to make up for all the missed date nights and lack of time we had not been spending together. I wanted tonight to be special, just me and her spending some much-needed quality time together. The store shelves were already empty. I ended up going back to that same gas station and buying the last half-dozen roses they had left. I picked up a king-size Hershey bar, the one with almonds, because at least I knew that was Ree's favorite. I spent more time in my car calling around to her favorite restaurants, which were all booked or had an hour-and-a-half wait time. Man, Ree was going to be so disappointed. Of course, I was so late picking her up. I saw her calling and texting and didn't want to answer. What was I going to say? I wanted the things I was doing for her, for us, for our future, to be a surprise when I finally did pop the big question. How could I face her now? I decided to just go ahead and pick her up and apologize for being late and give her what I could. I felt so low. At the end of our date, I could feel her disappointment stewing beneath the surface, but she was too polite to say anything out loud. I imagined her thinking that maybe this would be the night I would ask her to marry me, it being Valentine's Day and all. And not only didn't that happen, but it was also a crappy last-minute Valentine's Day dinner at the neighborhood Chili's. Which brings us back to today. After not seeing each other for 2 weeks, we met up for coffee. Conversation did not flow. We were both holding back things that needed to be said. The meet-up was short because we both needed to get back to work, so we decided on dinner that night. After coffee, I went back to work and decided that night at dinner I was going to pop the big question. The good thing about today was when I arrived back at work, my boss wanted to have a brief meeting with me. He said he didn't know what inspired the change in me, but all my hard work did not go unnoticed. I finally received that promotion, making a 6-figure salary effective immediately. So journal tonight is the night I will ask Ree to marry me. Always, Nick.